This is the Conservative Czar, November 3rd, 2012. I want to spend some time today talking about some basic fundamental points. And I want to again define what I see as a traditional conservative. And there are two sides of the traditional conservative. One side is the government expenditure side, the spending side, wants to cut the size of government. And the other is the other side of the traditional conservative is that person who wants to preserve traditional Christian values. Not Christianity, but Christian values. And this is, in the context of that, I am going to speak now about why some of us get so discouraged at what's happening all around us. Let me talk about spending first. There's only one person, that was Ron Paul, who talked about cutting anything in government, cutting government spending. No other candidate talked about it. Paul Ryan doesn't believe in it. Mitt Romney doesn't believe. Mitt Romney is a big government Republican. He believes in big government, just a different big government that the Democrats believe in. And look, the proof is going to be in the pudding in this. You just wait. All of you people who have bended your principles to support Mitt Romney, just 4 months from now, you are going to be in the trenches fighting this guy, because he is going to do right off the bat a lot of damage to conservatives around the country. And he's going to pass all sorts, but the proof will be then. But why is this so important? Because the trend over the last 50, 60, the trend goes back definitely to the 1920s. So it's 80, 90 years. For the trend for the last 90 years is for the federal government to expand in proportion to all other activity in the country, for the state governments to expand, for the local governments to expand, for the school districts to expand, for every single little government entity that exists, for them to expand. And we're getting to the point, and it's Paul Ryan talks about this, that we're getting to a tipping point where we are never going to have any chance of fighting big government socialism. It'll be inevitable in a very, very short time, because more people are going to be receiving benefits than are going to not receiving benefits. The public sector is going to take over the private sector. We might already be there. I will buy that. But we are at a tipping point in the size of government. And I could live with some of the economic problems that causes, except for one point. And that is that with socialism comes the idea that your freedom is limited if anybody's interpretation of the common good says we should limit it. In other words, in a socialist state, it's all about not about individuals. It's about the group. And individual freedoms can be taken away willy-nilly. And that's the real problem of socialism, is that all the freedoms that we taken for granted all this time are going to be taken away. And I mean fundamental freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of living. I did an article the other day about the British National Health Service imposing rewards and incentives to put people on a pathway to death. That's, as I said, that's a death panel with a twist. And but what is the reason for that? Because in order to control health care for the whole, we're better off with less older people. And that's what it's about. And if you read some of the background literature of Obamacare, you understand that. This is socialism. And we are at a tipping point. And it is a very, very serious time. And we cannot be tolerating people who want to grow government at 7% a year instead of 10% a year. We need to put them put the marker down that we need to cut government spending. We need to start doing it, and at all levels. And that is, if there is a windmill to be tilted, that's it. Because I don't, at times I just throw up my hands and say it's inevitable. But it might not be. There's still things. We're still not a desperate minority. We still have power at the ballot box, and we might not have it for very much longer. But in economics, that's the problem. I'll spell it out again. We are at a tipping point where there are going to be more people in government activity taking government benefits than are in private enterprise. And when that happens, we go down a slide of inevitability towards socialism. And socialism, it means a disastrous economic policy. That's one thing it means. But more importantly, it means your freedoms are going to be taken away. That's what socialists do. Take your freedoms away. That's the economic side. On the traditional Christian value side, things are equally as bleak. And I want to concentrate on, and we'll start off with this. Is there anybody who is a Christian, who is a Catholic or the Christian Catholic, who is a believer of almost any kind? Is there any one of you that don't think that values are corroding on a daily basis? Look at television, for God's sake. Look at it. Look at the courses. Do you realize that 40.7% of all new births in the United States are births out of wedlock? Now, come on. We know this is a disaster morally. We know that the very the value product of society is disintegrating. Let me give you two concrete examples of that. It wasn't just 10 years ago when Democrats were scared to death about fighting a battle over same-sex marriage. Barack Obama, who we all know believes in same-sex marriage, had to forego giving that opinion and had to lie about it to get elected. He was so afraid of the issue. Today, it's just the reverse. After 4 years of Obama in presidency, after 4 years of the mass media promoting the gay agenda, after 4 years of a decline in morals in America, we are now in the opposite position. Try to defend the Christian values and you're hounded into the ground. In just 4 years that happened. What is going to happen in the next 12 years? Do you think it's going to get better? It's not going to get better unless we do something about it. And I'm going to give you one other example. And everybody should understand, this is the problem with Mitt Romney. This is the problem with the modern Republicans, the Karl Roves, and all of those people who do. Dick Armey. I'm a little aside here. That Freedom Works group is a dangerous group of people, and they not to be supported. I'm telling you that right now. And that's Dick Armey's group, because Dick Armey does not believe that abortion should be talked about at all. He does not believe that any Christian values should be talked about at all. These people, plus the Democrats, have gotten us to a point where in the 2012 election, if you say you are pro-life, you are crucified. You're crucified by the mainstream media, you're crucified by the Democrats, the liberals, and the moderate Republicans. You are crucified for it. Today, just think of this. 12 years ago, a Democrat would never get on television and say, I am for abortion rights. I am for abortion rights. I support. They were running away from the issue. Today, we're running away from the issue. The pro-life movement is on a descendancy. I've said before, the reason is that good people are silent. These are serious, serious things. Look down the road. If we just take the trends that are occurring right now, 15 years from now, we'll be a complete socialist state and an economic basket case. 15 years from now, the values of this country will be deteriorated even further. And the first signs of actual Christian persecution will start to occur because our values will be so ridiculed that anybody who believes in them will be persecuted. The economic decline of this country and the values decline in this country are serious, serious things. They're going to affect every one of us in the next 15 years, but they're really going to impact the grandchildren. They're going to exist in a totalitarian-like socialist state. They are going to exist in a state where Christianity and Christian values are going to be ridiculed and persecuted. That's what our grandchildren are facing if we do not step to the plate. This is the Conservative Czar. See you next time.